Hello and welcome to a new episode of Josh's Car Corner. It's been a long time since I've done an episode, and I know there's been some people wondering when I was going to do another one again. Well, I'm finally doing one. It is the end of August right now, and I am in Wickenburg, Arizona. I've been living down here for almost 3 months now, and I'm just taking a weekend here. I've basically been trapped in the city the entire time I've been here. I got out of town one weekend, but basically I've been busy looking for work. Finally got a job, been at it a couple weeks, I really like it, and I just wanted to take a day and go out and find some of these amazing driving roads that I know exist out here in Arizona. So I'm starting my search today in Wickenburg, and I just got on Highway 93 North. This is a very twisty, turny road. It's going to zigzag up in the hills and the mountains, and if I want to, it'll take me all the way to Sedona. There's some things I didn't realize when I got down here, and some things I've had to learn and relearn. It's quite interesting. For example, I never realized how bad gas in the Southwest was. They get California gas out here. And when I was in California a couple of years ago, I remarked about how terrible the gas was. The car just felt underpowered. It felt like crap. And when I got out here and started putting in Arizona gas, I noticed that my mileage dropped, didn't have a lot of power. And the thing is, when it gets really hot, and we've had some hot days. I mean, we've had some days in the 100 teens, and you have to have the air conditioning on, which saps even more power. And the car just feels like a dog. And with the air conditioning on in that kind of heat, it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't drive right at all. It drives really weird. I met a friend down here. He's a tuner. We went out one night and scanned my car just to see how it was doing. Did a couple wide open pulls. And back home I had this thing tuned to be mid-high 12s for air-fuel ratio. We scanned it down here and I was low 11s. So it was really rich. And the only thing we could figure is that the fuel just has less oxygen down here because it's such crap. It's got detergents in it, and it's only 91 octane, which isn't any better. So you can't run a lot of timing. Fortunately, my car, we didn't have to pull any timing out. So long story short, the fuel sucks. But I can do something about it. They do have E85 down here, and it's slightly cheaper than the normal gas. It's not nearly as cheap as it was back home. We're going to put a higher volume fuel pump in it, higher flow fuel pump. And I already got big injectors in it from when I did the upgrade, and they can handle E85, and we're just going to convert it so it'll run on E85. The factory computer actually has provisions in it for an alcohol sensor, so we're going to put the GM alcohol sensor in it so I can run either or a mix of both. And the computer will just adjust. Because when I originally thought about doing E85 in this thing, I thought I would just do E85 only, which would be limiting because if I go somewhere that doesn't have E85 available, I'm kind of screwed. But if we use the alcohol sensor and it can just adjust, then I'm fine. So that's what we're going to do. And on both of his cars, he noticed he gained more power. He lost mileage, obviously, but he definitely gained more power. And he said he gained about a 1/10 at the track, which on a fuel switch alone, that's not bad. And the engine will run a lot cooler because the cool thing about ethanol or any alcohol-based fuel is it pulls heat out of the combustion chamber. It absorbs heat a lot like water does. So it makes your engine running temps a lot cooler. And when the air is this hot and the weather's this hot, that's a good thing. So it actually is a big power booster down here in this kind of climate. But I'm really looking forward to when it'll be down in the 60s and the 70s. Especially at night, it'll be like in the 40s and the 50s, and there's no humidity down here at all. I mean, a humid day, it has to rain first of all, and it only gets humid at night. During the day, the humidity is like low 20%, maybe if it's really a really dry day, it might get in the high teens, just no humidity at all. And then it'll creep up at night. But what's interesting is the temps don't come down just because the sun goes down. As a matter of fact, the coolest point of the day is usually about 6:30 to 7:30 in the morning after the sun's already been up for half an hour or so. That's the coolest point of the day because the ground, the soil absorbs all that heat, and so do the road surfaces, and they just hold it all night and it's trapped. So at midnight, it's not that much cooler than it is during the day. The other thing is they have dust storms out here. They're called haboobs. just these massive dust storms. They'll have cameras up in the mountains looking down into the valley where we all live, and you'll see these giant waves of dust moving across the valley, just covering everything. And from ground level, you don't see it too much. I guess I haven't really been in one proper. Like when it gets really bad, they tell you if you're driving, pull off the side of the road, turn your lights off, and just wait for it to be over. Don't leave your lights on, leave them off. I don't know why that is, but that's what they say to do. I haven't been in one of those yet, which I'm glad, because one of the things I was really worried about was just having the front of the car sandblasted being out here in this climate, because there's just sand in the air all the time. When you look around in the mountains, and mountains are all around you, by the way, there's just this haze over everything, and it's just dust in the air all the time. It's this really fine dust, and it's just gets on everything. It gets in everything, and it just leaves this hazy film on everything. Like every couple of days, I'll wipe the inside of my windshield off because it just gets this haze on it, this dust. And you don't really notice it until the sun's beating down, and then it adds glare, and then you can't see, so then you have to clean it off. The other interesting thing, and something I haven't seen since I was a kid, is that every day when I'm driving around, someone's pulled over on the side of the road with a flat tire. Either people just don't take care of their tires, or there's just a lot of crap laying on the road that's puncturing tires, or everyone's just running around on really old tires. But every day somebody has a flat. And with these air temps, I can imagine if you don't take care of your tires that they're just going to fail on you. I'm glad I put on the Michelin Pilot Super Sports before I left Wisconsin. They've held up very nicely, and they grip pretty well, especially on the hot roads. So one of the good things about moving down here is that there is a very strong car community down here. I've already met a couple of really good groups. There's a GTO group called Arizona Desert Goats, and I've hung out with a bunch of those guys, and they're pretty cool. And then there's another Facebook group I'm on called Arizona Street Cars. It's got a lot of good guys, and they've got all different cars. And it's a cool group because there is no favoritism. I mean, we might rib each other about each other's cars, but we all like each other's cars because we all like cars in general. And that's the kind of group I was hoping to find when I got down here. And there is a big car culture down here. It's amazing when you drive around. There's so many muscle cars. I mean, there's Mustangs, Camaros, Challengers all over the place. You couldn't throw a quarter without hitting one. They're just everywhere. And I haven't seen too many exotics outside of, they do Cars and Coffee here once a month in Scottsdale. I went to that a few weeks ago, and there you saw everything you'd ever want to see. I saw a couple $500,000 Lamborghinis, Ferraris. There was a Cobra Club there that day, actual Shelby Cobras. There were a couple of Nobles there. There were a couple of Noble M400s. I've never seen one of those outside of Top Gear. Never thought I would. That's an amazing show. They do another show in Scottsdale every Saturday night called Pavilions. It's at this mall. It's put on by this McDonald's and this just big strip mall parking lot. And they will knock off sections and say, well, these kind of cars go here, these go here, this, that, and the other. And it's a big show, and it happens once a week. So if you're a fan of cars, you've got opportunities to get out and see them and spend time with car people, which is cool. I was really looking forward to finding that kind of thing when I got down here, and I knew if I got into a big city I'd find a car culture, and boy, there is a car culture. It's very cool. One really cool thing that happened is I went to that Pavilions car show one time, and there was a kid there, a 17-year-old kid who follows me on YouTube, and he bought a GTO, and he had just got it. He had to go to California to get it. And he found me at the Pavilions car show and said, man, I always hoped that you'd come out to this sometime. I always wanted to meet you. I love your show. And I just thought that was the coolest thing. I have a fan. Well, I know I have fans, but I've only ever met one other one, and he was a friend of mine already, so it doesn't really count. But thank you for watching. I hope you're enjoying your car. The one thing I don't like about Phoenix or the full Phoenix area is just how spread out it is. It's just everywhere. I live in Gilbert, and I live in East Gilbert. It takes me 45 minutes to get to downtown Phoenix. Literally over an hour from the suburbs on the east side. There's a suburb all the way on the west side called Goodyear. Ironic name. But I went out there one night to get tickets for a concert. Not going on city streets. It's all Divided freeway, no traffic lights, no stoppages. Took me an hour to get there and an hour to get back. 2 hours, and I stayed in Phoenix Metro. It is huge. It's just everywhere. And it's all paved in concrete and asphalt too. I now understand what the concrete jungle is. But the cool thing about Gilbert is it's an outlier. It's one of the farthest out. It's still developing. It's developing at a phenomenal rate. It's just growing like gangbusters. But what's cool is where I live, you'll be driving along and you'll be in a subdivision, you'll go a block and there'll be a hayfield. And you'll go past the hayfield and then you'll be on another block where the subdivision again, make a right, go down a block, there's a cornfield. So you're kind of surrounded by farms and farmers still because all this expansion is happening in farm country and farmers are finally selling out and selling their property and then subdivisions are going up in their place. But it isn't all done yet. So you'll drive along and you'll see just farms and fields, and there's cattle farms. I mean, hardy cattle. I couldn't imagine surviving as a cow out here, but they do. So you've got farm country and suburbs. You got it all. Which has been nice because it's given me a little flavor of home. Sometimes I'll drive by the alfalfa fields at night and I'll smell the freshly cut alfalfa and it'll just take me back. And then it's just a nice feeling. And I'm getting into the hills and mountains here. I think the good driving roads are about to start. So I'm going to start talking and start enjoying the roads here. And I'll talk more later, I think. just entered the town of Prescott. I'm at 5,800 feet, and I must say that Highway 89 gets my stamp of approval. That is a pretty amazing drive. Those turns are tight. Now I just went through a big section with a lot of 20-mile-an-hour turns. Very tight and twisty, very cool. This has been fun so far. And I'm not even to the point where I got to decide if I want to go to Sedona yet. But I hope the car is liking these RPMs. I hope this is getting the engine good and cleaned out, because, boy, it has been down on mileage since I got here. I was talking earlier about how the air is so bad here and the gas is so bad here. I've had a couple of tanks where I've averaged 16 miles to the gallon. Suddenly this thing has turned into a truck, which is just terrible. So I got to burn the carbon out of this thing and try and clean it up, and hopefully the mileage will come back a little bit. Camera, but if you look off to the right, we're going to come under a big cloud, and I think that's rain. And it's perfectly sunny where I am, and it looks like I can see rain in the sky. I don't know how far away that is. I got to go 4 miles to my next exit. I hope it's less than 4 miles away, because I had to wash the car Thursday, and then I had to wash it again on Friday because it rained and got dirty. And now that I'm getting closer, that is rain, and I think I am going to have to drive through it. Bollocks! Okay, I'm closer now. My exit is 1 mile away, and I don't know. It's right up there. I can see the exit. I don't know if it's raining there. God, it sure looks like it's raining to the right, though. I don't know. I might miss this. I guess we'll find out together. Oh, it is rain. There it is. It's falling. Well, but I have to go east, so maybe I can get away from it. Maybe I'll just catch this corner of it here. Okay, I got out from under it. I'm looking to the right. Oh my gosh, that's a downpour. It looks so weird. It's hard to tell. It looks like dust. It looks like steam coming up from the floor. It's so weird, but it is rain. Wow. And look ahead of me. I'm going to be driving back under sunny skies again in a few minutes. And that's the end of the cloud right up there. And then I'm back under the daylight. Oh wait, is the cloud moving this way? It's moving in front of me. I have to outrun the cloud. And I did. Well, what a day it's been. I'm now on State Route 260 east of 17. I'm heading toward Strawberry, which is going to go to Pine, which is going to go to Payson. But I think this is going to be a good place to wrap this up. This has been fun. It's been great to see some more of this state, which is pretty cool. It was great to get the old girl out and stretch her legs and have some fun, and great to update you guys on what's going on. There will be more videos in the future. I've got a friend with a couple of really cool cars, and if he will allow me, I might do an episode with one of his cars. There's a lot of stuff on the horizon, but everything has been good today. Everything is looking good for the future, and I'm excited about continuing the show down here. And if you are in Arizona, you might see me out at a car show sometime. Don't be afraid to come up and say hi. I'd love to meet people, and I love to talk cars. So I'll be out and about. But thanks again for watching Josh's Car Corner, and we'll see you next time.